All right, all right. Hello, hello, everyone. We are live, and I'm so excited to be joined today by the one and only, the wonderful Solreta Antaria. So we'll introduce her in just a moment. Before we do that, so let me get my notes squared away here. Before we do that, as always, make sure you don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you think someone else could benefit from this content, share it out because it really does help, and it really helps boost the message and get it out to those who need it. So really appreciate that. And of course, too, please let us know in the comments if any of this resonates with you, or share your own experience of listening back to the full hypnosis session, because I know for myself, even having experienced it, listening back was a different experience. So super cool. And I'm really excited to dive deeper into that today. We are joined by Soul Tribe, so we'll say hello to everyone in just a moment. I did want to quickly show you guys my website. Make sure you guys know. Head over here for info on my practice, for bookings. And if you have questions, comments, concerns, you can always hit me up at the contact up there too. And while I'm here, I do want to show Soul's site as well. Here, let me close that out. Beautiful site. I love your site. It's so fun.
Thank you. I love it too.
Definitely head over here to learn more about Soul and her practice and to book a session of your own. Lots of good content on here about Soul and her mission and what she can offer. And we'll get more into that today as well. But before we do that, I did want to say hello to some friends here in the chat. We've got Emma joining us. Hello, Emma. So good to see you. Good morning to you. And good morning to Soul as well on the other side of the world. It is nice night for us here, but y'all are just waking up. We've got Corbin in the chat and Ken in the chat. Hello, friends. Joined by Christian as well. Hello, hello. So glad to have you here. All right. Without further ado, let me pop us back here. Without further ado, let me introduce our lovely guest today, Soul. And let me read her bio quick so that we fill in anyone who isn't familiar with her about her and her practice. So Solreta has always been aware of other multidimensional realities. She is an ET UFO experiencer, even capturing some of those experiences on camera, which I've been able to see some of that, and it's such cool stuff. Today, she helps many people connect with their soul mission, working with psychic readings and kinesiology to quantum jump her clients to a better version of self, which really aligns with my work too. With 23 years of experience in natural medicine, Solreta holds an advanced diploma in health sciences, having a passion for superfoods, plant-based diets, biohacking, and neuroplasticity. She's an author, teacher, and YouTube channel host, and she currently lives in Melbourne, Australia, working internationally online. And so I'm so glad to be joined by you today, Soul. I've been a guest on your shows, but haven't had you here yet. So I'm so excited about this. Let me give you the floor if you want to say anything to the audience or share anything before we dive in.
Yeah, I'm just so happy to be here on your beautiful show and just love and support your work. I think you do an amazing job. So it's just wonderful to be here and to see Soul Tribe here as well, and a few new faces, probably in the replay. But yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So today, as some of you may be aware, we are talking more about our recent hypnosis session together, where I regressed Soul, and we had a pretty fascinating exploration of the cosmos, as well as really crazy cool conversation with her higher self around a lot of different topics. So if you haven't already, make sure you go check out that full session recording. It's on my channel as well as Solreta's. The link is down in the description below. So definitely check out the full thing because it is well worth the time, and there's just so much in there to dive into. Before we get into it, though, I did want to say for today, for our show, if you guys have any questions around what came through in the session, if you've watched it already, or if, as we discuss it today, you have questions pop up, put those in the chat, put those in all caps, and we'll do our best to answer those and bring those into the discussion too, because we always love to hear from you guys. So let's see. All right. So I wanted to also say hello to the other folks joining us. We got Sula. Hello, Sula. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I saw Jody pop in. Hello, hello, Jody. So good to see you. Always good to see Soul Tribe in the chat. All right, so the first clip that I wanted to play from the session, and thank you to Soul for clipping together these wonderful shorts, and we'll have more to share with you guys as we in the next coming time after the show. But today I wanted to share one that was particularly cool for me and tied back into our first session together, where we talked about the meditation pods that our higher self wanted to connect with us in and through. So for those who did not see that show, it is on Maison Jupiter, where I talked with Soul about the first session that we did. But the concept of this was essentially envisioning this pod that you would enter, and within this, it contained your higher self essence and sort of helped you to connect with them in a deeper way, but also to integrate that higher self energy into your physical being and into your reality here and now as well. Was there anything else that you wanted to add around that, Soul, or anything that?
Yeah, I guess Spirit will drop things in from time to time when we're talking about it. So I'm just seeing more in regards to that. It's almost like letting go of the mental concept and just letting the energy of the pod and what it is that we're talking about sort of sit within your consciousness. And it's almost within that construct, we open up to the potential of actually using the pods, and it bypasses the logic brain and the mental brain. So I guess if we just sort of have it sit within our awareness, it's more like our subconscious will understand how to uptake and work with that.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. And that's a common thing that comes through in sessions is, we as humans, we intellectualize things a lot, and we can be very mental and cerebral about it. And so often with these sorts of things, it's a little bit more loosey-goosey, or a little more feeling and intuitive.
Very true.
Yeah. So that was kind of the first iteration of the pod, and it was so cool to have the concept come back up, and they had more to share with us around that. So let me play that clip for you guys, and then we'll discuss some more.
So we're getting mandala effects.
Ooh. Sorry, guys, one moment here.
We're getting deja vu. We're getting break off timeline realities. We're getting people wake up and swear that the yesterday was a different dimension or a different timeline. But it's to do with the parts of us that are in pods, that are recoding. Some of the recoding happens in pods.
Since you mentioned pods, I'm curious, is this the same pod concept that you discussed with us last session around connecting with higher self?
Yes. We can talk more about that if you like.
Oh, I would love to, please.
I see a salty ambiotic fluid in the pods. This is like a medium between the physical relay density and the spiritual higher dimension. It's a conduit between realms and realities. It's a source just like water for holding information and encoding different things. So as we sit in the pods, we now want to teach you about how to fill them up with this ambiotic starlight fluid. There's an osmosis that takes place and a memory when this water hits and fills and connects in with the physical or the mental bodies. So all you have to do is in fact just visualize yourself in the pod and then visualize this fluid filling up. It hits the spinal column and activates the chakra points and activates these energy centers. With this, we can send messages and imprint into this fluid, and then it helps to pop things into our density. Just like programming water, like Dr. Emoto, and also like Veda Austin as well. Messages can be sent and received in this way. So at this time, what we would like to teach you about the pods is that you all, in fact, operate your own individual pods. This is something that everyone has access to. And a lot of this is being kept hidden or made to seem like it's something within the movies.
So I love this so much. My first thing is I love the work of Veda Austin and Dr. Emoto as well, but it just really resonates with me and is just such beautiful work that I think is so important. So what were your thoughts rewatching that? What's coming to you in this moment?
Yeah, it's so funny because even though I've clipped it and put it together and the information is coming through me, just watching it again then, I'm like, this is like watching it for the first time. It's just, it's hard to wrap my head around sometimes, I guess. And even working in this space, I know that we work on many different levels, but it's like I'm viewing it through the human part of me when I was watching it then, because, being a guest on the show, I don't have to sort of be as switched on as what I am sometimes. Do you know what I mean? It's just, yeah, I feel like, imagine doing this in a group setting too. If we ran it as a meditation together and everyone's sort of entering their pods and we're collectively working, that was one of the thoughts that was coming to me. And I saw Emma say, just the little remark down the bottom, there it is. So I tried doing this the other night and the fluid feels heavier than white light scenario. So yeah, there's almost like a viscousy type, salty, fluidy substance or amniotic type substance that comes with it. So it just, yeah, that feeling of it hitting your chakras, especially in the back, you can actually kind of feel it tactilely. It's a interesting feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I loved Emma's comment. I was going to bring it up if you didn't mention it, but I love that you mentioned the meditation, and maybe that's something we should talk about,
I
because
think so, yeah.
I did kind of model meditation for the Taurus. Was it the Taurus new moon, I believe? When Corbin and I did our astrology and activation show, and I kind of modeled it after the pod, because that's what came to me, and it was just, I wrote it in like 10 minutes. It just flowed right out.
Amazing.
And so I'd love to collaborate on
Oh yeah, we should do
updated
that.
version. We should talk.
Yeah.
So more to come, guys. Stay tuned. Oh, and we've got other Soul Fam joining. We've got Mama Sushi coming in. Hello, so glad to see you. And Lynn popped in while we were talking. So hello, Lynn, to you as well. Any other thoughts? Oh, I wanted to say too, around that concept with the amniotic fluid. Obviously, it's like the womb, and
Yeah.
I just kept thinking about this rebirth idea, this reprogramming, rebirth, and almost like when you enter these pods, it's like a second birth. They talk about like not hypnobirthing, like breath work, like womb work, where you do
Yeah.
the birthing scenario. And that's what I was thinking about with that, where I
Mm.
feel like it's like doubling down on that rebirth and sort of giving you that womb space to change yourself.
Yeah. Oh, that actually came up in a session, I think maybe about 2 weeks ago with a client around working with womb space. And it was something to do with that being the portal, that inner universe that we have access to. And for a guy, I guess it's accessing or visualizing and imagining that space. But there is something very magical that's, I would say, semi-physical, that it's like if we think about it being like a gel or some kind of substance in which we can form a physical reality or start to have the building blocks to bring things into this dimension, that's what I was seeing with that womb space energy, and also working with those waters. And there was a show I did, I think it was a couple of years ago. It would have been probably on Beyond Mystic, about not just amniotic fluid, but it was about the pericardium, the heart space, and all of the fluid that flows in the pericardium as well as womb space. We went into, I researched the gematria and everything to do with that. I wouldn't mind going back and watching that and seeing how it connects to this aspect of things we're talking about.
And I love that, the ways that the information is trickled or poured out to us in
Yeah.
just the right timing, and it can build upon those previous moments, those previous downloads, and shift everything in just a bit. So I would definitely be interested to hear
Yeah.
what
Or
you uncover there.
even just looking at your butterfly in the background just reminding me of some of the coursework that I've taught in the aura program, the How to See Auras course over on Mason on Jupiter, but also I think it was a How to Build a Psychic Brain on my YouTube channel. I might have gone into it a little bit deeper, but when we look into the sinuses, we have that butterfly sphenoid bone, and the sinuses, you've got 12 channels, but right around here, you have, some people describe it as a butterfly, which we know is about transformation, going from the physical into the spiritual. But it also is sometimes talked about being like two pyramids sitting tip to tip. And then you have two pyramids at the back of the skull where the sinuses flow as well. So there's definitely sacred geometry and transformational tools that are built around these areas that we have these sacred fluids.
Oh, absolutely. And I remember, I mean, I couldn't tell you which show it was, but you were talking about like the different dimensional versions and how like we and like energy has that kind of sacred geometry expression, and how, you know, you can follow the different shapes from 2D to 3D to 4D to 5D and
Yeah.
all the way up. And I feel like that just really fits too with the multidimensionality of these pods.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so many shows I forget.
Oh, I
All the
know, right?
information. One day, I think when AIs, reached a little bit further, we'll be able to just go, can you just like pull and categorize all of the information in the shows for me? That'd be really nice.
Right. Oh,
I
I
forget when
know.
I'm
I know.
channeling what comes through.
Oh, absolutely. I know. I know. All right. I think that about any final thoughts on the pod?
I do wonder if it is also about feeling the fluid within our body as well. So
Mhm.
you've got those chakra points that it hooks into, or sort of, I guess, starts to flood into. But I also wonder if it's letting that fluid mix and amalgamate with the fluid in our body. It might be something for like another question to go deeper into another session about.
Right? Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot that we could uncover, and I don't know if everyone's watched the full session, but the higher self, soul's higher self, did tell us that we'll likely get more information down the road. They said a year out, I think is what they said, and
Okay.
so we'll see if more is able to come through before then.
Yeah.
But at the very least, we know that there's more to it, and I think that's not surprising when we think about a concept as big as, you know, anchoring your higher self into this reality.
Yeah. And I think it's also, you were just saying before about breath work. I think it was when I did somatic work for the first time, I didn't realize what it actually felt like to be in my body. I think I live a lot outside of my body. So if we're thinking about, because I'm a bit ADHD, dyslexic, so neurodivergent, and a lot of us are that, are highly empathic. So a lot of us don't actually live in the body. So I wonder if there's something else that comes through connected to do with that and connected to do with getting the little consciousness group that we are that lives outside the body. What happens when we go full throttle and we actually start to operate this vehicle in the way that it was intended?
Right. And I definitely resonate with that as well. The concept of living outside of my body, and breath work for me too has been a huge shift. And when I've struggled with meditation, breath work really helps me to not drift off in the ways
Yeah.
that I sometimes can. And it's been such a powerful tool in helping me to anchor into my body more. So I definitely, and there is more on the breath as we go through these clips, because there was a little bit later on um, something that I want to dig into. So stay tuned for more on the breath, guys. And we got such wonderful comments in the chat. Thank you guys so much
Yeah.
for joining. Oh, and we've got TJ joining too. Hello, TJ. So good to see you. Saying, I just got a somatic workbook. It's good to know that it will probably be a useful tool.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing indeed. I love those synchronicities, right?
Yeah.
All right. So the next clip that I wanted to play for you guys was around the oversoul and sort of the concept of it as a diamond with facets. And some of you may have seen this already. I put it up. We both put it up on our channels, but I wanted to bring it into the discussion today because it's such a profound concept, and I definitely want to dig deeper. So let me play that for you guys, and then we'll talk more.
What they're showing me is like a big diamond fractal that is the oversoul, and each of the little facets of that diamond are individual diamonds. And so they're showing me, they keep handing me a basket of diamonds, and we're piecing together, tapping into various different lifetimes and fractals. But it's all part of that one unique oversoul. So many people are putting the pieces of the puzzle back together right now, and we're looking at them individually, but it would be interesting to look into the oversoul or anchor as many of these diamond light aspects of self that we can whilst we're down here in the earth plane.
That's one of my favorites. I think because it really represents our beautiful soul group. And it represents, so the way that, if I'm trying to translate what I was saying there, I see this diamond energy. And if we imagine, I guess, me being a little corner or a little refraction off that diamond. And then there would be another part of that diamond that's reflecting light and refracting. That would be perhaps myself in another multiverse. So it's like together, when you meditate and you connect into that diamond aspect, you're connecting into all of these little personalities and these little aspects of your soul that are experiencing a multitude of different lives all at once. And so when I saw that basket, I was seeing soul family. And it was like each and every single one of us, but we were all coming together collectively. So I do feel that it's not just us working together in this life, that it's also probably collectively in other lives too. And that's what feels different about this beautiful community.
Oh, 100% agree. I think that there's too much resonance and there's too much love for it to just be this one lifetime. I
Yeah.
definitely think there's more to it. And I love Corbin's comment here, Diamond Core, Diamond Light. And he also said that he cried listening to it the first time. It resonated so
Yeah.
much.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, it was quite emotional through various different parts of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, Sorry, I always get distracted by the chat, and then I'm trying to
I know, it's like you need two brains at
truly
once when
though,
you when
truly
you're
though.
operating the tech.
So this concept was super cool, and I loved looking at it through like the multiverse lens. And I wanted to bring in something from a session this week that I did get this individual's permission to share this. One of our wonderful soul tribe, Christian, who's in the chat today, we had a session this week, and one of his questions was around his soul fractals, and more specifically around the soul fractals that are active on Earth at this time. And so I wasn't sure what the answer was going to be or how that was going to be answered by the higher self. But what they shared was that there were nine fractals of his soul here on Earth at this time. And they shared more that we don't often as humans interact with these other fractals of our souls because, as they put it, it'd be like looking into the mirror and seeing yourself, but the features are different and it'd just be jarring, it'd be disconcerting, it'd be uncomfortable, and could cause some issues with you and your reality here. But that there are some humans who have or do, and it depends on their evolution, it depends on their mission and what they're here for. And what I loved most, though, that they shared was that we can, in fact, connect with these other fractals of our souls here on Earth during meditation. And I don't know, Soul, have you seen the show Sense8 on
Oh,
Netflix?
yeah. I've seen, maybe the first couple of seasons.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, and it's interesting what Christian was saying too, because it does have that kind of feel that it's not normal to plug in or to be aware of those other fractals of self.
mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. And sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chat again
No,
because
that's okay. I
Christian's
feel like
saying,
it's interesting that we're on the timeline as well, that, like, this is coming up. So it does
mm-hmm,
feel like that there's information to be gained from looking into those other aspects. But yeah, what Christian was saying about it being, kind of weird, connecting in with it, it does feel like we're being prepared. I feel like we're not sort of jumping in the pool in the deep end.
exactly. And similar to the show, which if y'all haven't seen the show, it's okay. It's essentially about like a soul group and these individuals that are sprinkled throughout the globe, and they establish a mental connection and they start working with each other and connecting with each other, and ultimately like get to the point where they do meet in person. But it starts in their minds first, and they're connecting telepathically, and they're connecting through the astral. And that was one of the pieces that Christian's higher self brought in, was that we can connect in through meditation, and we can learn from these other fractals of us, and we can grow together in this way. And so I
Yeah.
think it definitely is, like you said, this topic and this idea is coming up more and more because we are being prepared for more of our multidimensionality.
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I just saw, I think it was Sola. Oh, I'm just going to pop. There's one up just a little bit further, and it just says, what is the difference between higher self and oversoul? And how can you establish a deeper connection with your higher self? So the way that Spirit was showing it to me, it's like, if we imagine just this lifetime and there's like a string or a thread that's connected. So this would be, if we imagine like a tapestry being the oversoul, but a string representing to this higher self is the way that Spirit's showing me the vision as we're talking.
Wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, there's so many different ways that we can connect, and it's about what resonates with you. Obviously, I'm partial to hypnosis and doing it in that trance state, but there's also meditation. There's a whole myriad of other ways too that you can connect to that part of you. And I think that's the key, is remembering that it is indeed part of you. It's not this separate entity that's, a million miles away. This is a part of you, and it's a part that wants to connect with you and wants to support you. So it's not going to be hiding from you or trying to avoid you.
Yeah. And I think that was such a great question, because it just enables us to explore and go a little bit deeper. So thank you, Emma. I think Emma was also adding some comments around that too.
Yeah. And I saw Sula's other comment here, thinking that the higher self was more of a mediator between the physical vessel and your oversoul.
Yeah. I would say that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, exactly. And Sula, if you haven't seen the full hypnosis session, I definitely recommend, because we did talk a little bit more about kind of our higher self and sort of that part of us that is our oversoul, like out past the matrix. And so, I mean, there's so much more that we could dive into and talk about with this. But you're definitely not wrong there. I think there is nuance to it, and there's a lot of different ways that people conceptualize this and talk about it. And with a lot of these concepts, we're doing the best that we can in the spoken word to communicate these things, but it doesn't always necessarily line up exactly right. And that's where I think your own intuition, your own inner knowing is super key.
Yeah, I think the English vocabulary is so limited when it comes to, and that's why light language is good, because it surpasses that logic mind. But still, there's that human aspect of us that wants to know answers.
Exactly. So glad that makes a lot of sense to you, Sula.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for being here and for contributing to the chat. We appreciate it. All right. And we got TJ asking for some clarification. I want to make sure I'm understanding, because this is fascinating. Are you saying that different pieces of our soul sometimes exist in this dimension in many forms at the same time? The short answer would be yes.
Yeah. And I feel that just what they were showing to do with the tapestry and that one thread connecting into this consciousness, I feel like that we can start to touch in or weave into these other threads and these other parts of the tapestry that would be connected more to the multiverse. So I don't feel it's even just our local universe. It's a big concept to wrap our heads around.
Oh, yeah. It really is. We
can pull cards on it too. If there's anything that you want to go deeper into, just let me know.
Yeah, no, I feel like that might be a good idea. It seems like we've got a lot of interest in this.
I just think there's a few questions. So let's have a look what Spirit wants to show us through the cards. So what they're showing, they're giving me the word preparing. So there's something about preparing for a time that will happen in our timeline. And it's interesting, they're showing me holographically, you know how we talk about as above, so below, so within, so without, or we talk about the micro, the macro. They're showing me that a lot of this is tied and connected to different prophecy. So more in what we would say is Indigenous culture, or like Native American culture, or other different tribal culture throughout the world. So they're also showing and referencing that the many different tribes and the many different people are like a tapestry in themselves too. So each different aspect holds a part of the information, just as like each part of our, I guess, higher selves in these various different dimensions are connected to the oversoul being connected to that omnipresent source, God energy. I guess if we're looking at sort of the hierarchy of things. So let me feel into these before we flip them over. And there's quite a lot. I don't want to move my screen down to show the camera, because I've got plug-in today, just internet-wise. We've had some power issues, and I don't want to jinx it. Oh, there was another hidden card. So I've got, let me count. I've got 8 cards, which is a lot. So 6 is a story. 8 is, yeah, it's huge. So So what they're showing me is that a lot of the information is being gleaned and dripped into this dimension right now, but this is actually being given from the higher self, or sort of the oversoul dripping it to the higher self. So we're getting, if you can imagine the tapestry with the thread into our consciousness right now, imagine little beads of water that are raining down from source, and we're getting sort of like a little drip, drip, drip type effect that's starting to absorb into our consciousness and then start to become part of the information or the water that's in our world. So they're showing me this vision for how much we're starting to, they're giving me the word pick up pace. So it has been a drip, 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 but we're getting to where now we're about to open a little bit more of the floodgate, is what they're showing, like a tap valve coming on. So I'll flip these over. And this is also to do with, they are answering more around the dark side that's been trying to prevent us from accessing the information on a lot of what we're talking about. So the first card we have is the Six of Disc. So we do see where everything's sort of coming in. And we did mention in the hypnosis, Veda Austin and Dr. Emoto's work. So we see this sort of like a fractal type snowflake almost imprint. This is also Mary Magdalene energy in the center with the rose. It's Taurus energy. So it's about our material world. It's about Venus energy. We then see the card of the Lovers, and we see here this higher power that's been orchestrated, and we see the almost like tapestry of the multi-dimensions that's in this card. So really interesting, because they do instruct me on what cards to use. But what we see that's been blocking it is the card of the Devil. So we do see that this has actually stopped us from reaching higher self, the Hierophant. And with this higher self, we know that he's that one person that communicates and then brings the information back for the people. So we're really seeing how this is now about us being able to access this oversoul through the aspect of higher self. We then see the Ten of Cups. So it's definitely connected with soul family. There's an energy of not just individuals doing this by themselves. There is where they're wanting us to connect and to do this as soul family, and to really activate and trickle that flow or that absorption into our reality. There is sort of a hastiness with it, because we have the Magnets, which is us coming into our full power and potential. You guys sort of watched me on other shows now. I talk about this being the Neo in the Matrix moment, where he figures out how to stop the bullet. So this is about us actually impacting and affecting and changing timelines, changing reality. But what we see with this is the Chariot. So there's no time to dilly-dally or to waste around this situation. We actually need to start practicing this. The other thing too is you see that this is sort of like a matrix construct. And we see here, this is the Achilles heel of where we leak energy. So they're giving me the word sovereignty. We need to protect our sovereignty when it comes to, layers of protection in the biofield, in the aura, and then how that pertains to oversoul. What they're showing me is with that Devil card, sometimes certain people will have clamps on the oversoul or clamps on some of the threads that are coming in, and there'll be negative entities that hijack or masquerade as these threads coming in. So I've never looked into anything around that before. So it's super interesting. You'll have to remind me later, Jake, when I come back into this world a little bit more fully. That could be something to also investigate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting.
So to write a note so that I don't forget that. All right. Love it. Love it. And I'm trying to keep up with the chat while we're going here. You guys are great. I love it.
I did see, I think it was Emma and Corbin talking about some of the astrology.
Yeah.
I would say that it's definitely happening for us, and astrology usually will precede some of these activations and I guess this coming of knowledge. Yeah, Neptune and Aries bringing new spiritual knowledge. Interesting, because it's almost like there's a veil being taken off and we're allowed to see a lot more. And it's just the way that Spirit's sort of showing it. And I think it's working together. I don't feel this is like just getting information. I think it's the fact that you and I also working together, that it creates a bigger space, that homogenized energy of us tapping into it. Mm-hmm. It's like more, Spirit comes more behind that.
Yeah. I love that. I love that, the way that you put that. And Christian said here that he got, I got that sorry, I got that a complete detox, mind, body, spirit, is needed to get this information.
Yeah, I would not be surprised, especially when we look into, we're talking about demonic or archon type influences clamping or crimping onto things. Usually, when we have things of that sort of nature, there's usually parasites within the body too. And we know that where there's parasites, there's usually heavy metals. So, I guess also training the mind to detox or detoxing from a lot of the dopamine addiction technology.
Mm-hmm. And I think, the remembering that all of our bodies are connected, that everything's connected. And so, there's going to be uh, different layers to it. And if your physical body is not in a good state, then you aren't going to be able to access your astral, or to, do these other work with these other parts of you, because your physical body is important and it's a part of the mix.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and Mama Sushi had a great point. He said, "I found the solar plexus super important right now, and definitely, I just keep getting drawn to it lately as well." And
Hmm.
when we think about that being that umbilical cord that's attached to the placenta, that life-giving, amazing, amazing, I guess, temporary organ that's used in pregnancy, it's interesting. I heard something about. I can't remember exactly where it was that I read it, but it was a little girl that had been blinded in a poorer culture where they throw acid. Quite a horrific story. But there was a test of taking some of the placenta because it's self-regenerating, and they popped that little bit over the lens of her eyes, and she gained her vision back. So I think there's not enough known about the placenta and what it does. And we know there's stem cells and things like that that come from there. But it's interesting because all your fascia in your body around that valley kind of meets at that central point. So yeah, I think there's more information to be gathered around solar plexus too.
Oh, absolutely. And what I kept thinking of was, that's our power center, right? And
Yeah,
so,
and it's the will.
mhm.
In terms of chakra wise, that's where our will and sense of self comes from.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, when we're thinking about entities, or these darker beings that are latching onto us, or might be trying to interfere, or have malefic intent, remembering that we are just as powerful as any of these beings, or any of these, if not more powerful, because and remembering our autonomy, remembering that we have that ability to say no, not in my sphere, not in my space. You're not welcome here. And the awareness piece is the first thing, and then you need to step into your power and say, nope, not going to happen. I'm not taking this. And
Yeah.
putting down those boundaries.
I was just getting a vision as you were talking about that too, to do with more from a shamanic practice. So, like with ayahuasca, you'll hear the shaman sing, like Icarus, they'll do that protective song that's singing away, any dark, maleficent, no, I can't talk, like malefic energies that might be impeding or coming into someone working with that sacred plant medicine. And I was just sort of like looking at it from that point of, when people experience DMT, they're actually accessing these different aspects of self or these different fractals even.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And congratulations. I see
Yeah, I
Colin
know.
saying,
Mama Sushi, wow,
congratulations.
while I'm
That's so
pregnant.
beautiful.
Truly, congratulations. And I love this comment from TJ. I feel that the rise of the divine feminine is integral to all of this. I've worked with Mary Magdalene a lot lately and gotten some similar messaging. It seems like her energy is very active lately.
Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely. And just for those of you that might not have seen some other shows, so when I talk about Mary Magdalene, and we know that she was a beautiful being and consciousness that came onto the earth, just like we're in the 3D, what I always see is it goes back to the roots, and I see another worldly place where there's a collective of beings. It always shows similar to the Wonder Woman movie, where there's these amazing, almost Amazonian women that have all these skills and this courage, and each person plays a different part. So I always see Mary Magdalene coming from a place that has this not a self-sacrifice, but like a feeling in their soul to go to other places to make a difference. And it's because they've already optimized where they are. So they want to go to different parts of the universe to help other people progress.
Mm-hmm. And I was there with Corbin when we watched this, but we did watch an interview on 5-MeO DMT last
Ah,
night.
awesome. Oh, you guys will have to send it across.
Oh, absolutely. We'll do. Um, the only other thing that I wanted to share around the Diamond Light and the Diamond Oversoul was, let me navigate over here and get my screen up. I wanted to share some aura drawings that this aura drawing is Corbin, lovely moderator in the chat and also astrologer on the channel. So thank you, Corbin, for being willing to share this. These aura drawings were drawn by Sol at some of our recent readings with her. And it was just so fascinating to have the diamonds come into our auras. And so I'll show mine as well. And it was definitely a different iteration of it or a different expression of it. But I was wondering, Sol, if you wanted to share a little bit more about either what you saw or what you're feeling about the connection between these themes.
Yeah, so I think that, a lot of this is being dropped into our consciousness right now. And it's the same, how they say, if you watch a scary movie, you don't want to go to bed because it kind of imprints onto your consciousness. So I do think that part of our consciousness is taking up this diamond light energy. I saw it with a beautiful client yesterday too. And I have seen it with various other clients. One of my beautiful friends, Michael Lee Hill, who does the 432 Hertz healing disc, and talks a lot about the positive aspects of the Anunnaki, and is also someone who's spoken at the Starseed knowledge conferences. I'm trying to think or Star Knowledge Conferences, which is the Native American knowledge and connection, even to this present day, of star beings still coming to Earth and visiting. So he plays a really integral part when it comes to a lot of the information that the beautiful Native American elders are sharing, and he has that heritage. I won't try and pronounce the tribe that he comes from because it's very hard to pronounce, but you will see interviews and things over on my channel. But what I saw with Jake when I was drawing this, it's almost this beautiful open opal essence auric egg shape that these diamond fractals are contained within. So it's very hard to draw it in 2D form, but if we can imagine like an opal type color and these beautiful lights being reflected, sort of similar to if you look at a piece of quartz and you have that rainbow within the quartz. And that's how I saw your gorgeous aura.
Mm-hmm. And was it a similar concept with Corbin's, or?
Yeah, it was interesting. I guess to see like a diamond light in two different ways. With you, I saw you more sort of like encased in it. And with Corbin, the turquoise that we've drawn closer to the body, turquoise for me, when I see that, especially when it's sitting around mental, emotional body, this is like our past life or the multidimensional self or versions of us. Like pretty much like smack in our face going, hey, you need to like check in and have a look, or there's another part of you wanting to drop or seed information in here. We saw the gold and the astral, and then the pink around the spiritual. So a lot of love and protection, gold and pink together as well, when they're working in unison, like we've got in Corbin's, is usually also an aspect of that Mary Magdalene unconditional love energy, or what I call Christos or Christ consciousness. So he has that element that he's working with at the moment too. And remember, an aura is like a photo. So it can change from time to time, but there's still the aspect of diamond light that's within. But it was sort of like looking like it was like glimmering, or shimmering would be kind of the way that I saw it.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And I just thought the synchronicity between the auras and what came through in the session was too good to not share. And for those of you watching, many of you already probably know, but Sol does aura drawings within her readings. And so if you're interested in getting a deeper look at your own aura, I definitely highly recommend Sol's readings, because they are next level. And the aura is just a like a cherry on top of like the beautiful reading and the information that comes through. So
thank you, Jake.
Absolutely. I mean, can't say enough good things about your readings. I did want to see what you thought about Christian's question here. Seeing if there's a message from Mary Magdalene from the cards.
Oh yeah, that is a great idea. Oh,
Because
cool.
I don't remember that exact part, but I trust you in, because Christian said that he was reviewing the session today. So yeah, would be fascinated to know what comes through.
Well, I just had a card. Oh, there's a couple of cards drop out. Let me see what these are. Wow. So with this, there is like a hasty kind of like ushering of bringing higher self in, and that connection to the divine, that connection to our oversoul and other parts of self. The other thing that I'm also hearing from spirit too is that many of us do have other versions of self that reside within that realm that we were talking about, where Mary Magdalene actually comes from. So a lot of us would have mastered different gifts and things in different ways and forms. So let's have a feel into this. I've got 5 more cards and I'll just feel into this. So yeah, her energy is really around the earth right now in terms of the developmental. It's interesting. She's showing me this image. It's almost like a mother where a child's experiencing a developmental delay. And she's saying she's been guiding here through some of the developmental delays around the Earth timeline. So it was hoped that things that we're going through right now that we could have activated and had done thousands of years ago, but through some of these dark archonic energies that came and clamped in, and things that took up, the word she's giving me is nest down here. So I do feel that she's talking or referring to more kind of like the darker energies that are taken root. Perhaps when she's showing me a nest, I'm seeing sort of like inner earth, and I'm seeing more kind of like reptilian energy, as well as some other dark negative agendas that are working. So she's talking about that with these energies coming in, or I guess raising up against humanity, we're seeing the timeline a little bit slower to what we would have organically progressed had we have been left alone. So I'll flip these cards over. We've got the Queen of Wands in reverse, which is interesting. Comes out right next to the Seven of Discs and the Devil card. So we're seeing that we had this amazing potential. It's pretty much exactly what I was just saying before I flipped them. So we see her come out in reverse. So we've gone into fear. We've gone into not trusting our higher self and our connection to source, not trusting our spiritual gifts. So we see here the little pine cone at the top. This represents the full knowledge and psychic powers and gifts that we would have had. The cat would represent, or the big leopard would represent, this is usually fear in these particular cards. In the Princess of Wands, the one that comes before her, you see how it's sort of around her throat chakra, pulling her into the pits of hell or the underworld. So with this in reverse, we haven't been able to live into our full potential. We've always been sort of hindered or suppressed. And we see this with the Seven of Discs and also the Devil card. So this is in active energy. The funny thing is, I actually call this a nest. So freaky that they gave me the word nest. And you see with this, it's got that feather aspect to it. This is always about sort of suppression, or imagine like we have the architecture for these amazing gifts to come through, which is our sinuses, like what I teach, in how to see auras and things. But a lot of us are not utilizing it or activating this. So it's like a dormant faculty. So we do see who's behind it. It's the parasitic energy we were talking about and the demonic energy. But we've come into this time, and Mary Magdalene energy is helping. So thank you, Christian, for that cool energy. We have the Sun and the card of the Fool. So also what Emma and Corbin were saying about the astrology, see all the little zodiac signs? So we're seeing that it is that age of Aquarius that we're coming into. And this is also my card for Alice falling down the rabbit hole or choosing to go onto that journey. So, this is about staying open, I guess, not open to darker things. We know that we have sovereignty when it comes to that. But with this, from a Vedic point of view, for me in Vedic astrology, this is the goddess Rohini. And she can't be told. She has to actually learn and go through this experience of being in the physical world. She's very much about, I'm immersed in the 3D. So I'm going to taste everything. I'm going to feel every sensation on my skin. I'm actually, I need to learn. I can't have someone tell me what a cupcake tastes like Alice in Wonderland. I have to actually bite it and shrink small or grow big and go through that experience. So there's this energy of, even if it was to happen where we came through when we experienced what it was like, there's still something more that's come from walking through the birth of this darkness and realizing that we actually had the power all along, just like a Dorothy shoe click moment in the, we were at home all along, or we have that within us. So this is really interesting that just with this tactile sense too, I feel that we've got more out of it. And they keep telling me it's an immersion experience, whereas we would have been more sort of not fully immersed if we hadn't have gone through the darker phases.
Mm, wonderful reading. Thank you so much, Soul. And as Christian is saying, holy because
That was freaky with the nest and things.
well, and
Yeah.
it's even deeper because so much of what you just got in the reading came through in Christian's session with me.
Oh my
So
gosh.
more to come on
Wow.
that. I'm going to need a little time to dig into that and break it down. But Christian and I have
Wow.
talked, and we're gonna share more around the session moving
Oh, I
forward.
can't
So
wait.
yeah, really, really cool stuff. And yeah, TJ saying just got chills. I feel very connected to this reading.
Ah,
Oh yeah,
thank you, everyone. We just have the most beautiful community.
we
And
do.
I can't wait to hear what Christian says. That's going to be fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And TJ saying, can't thank you enough for this reading. It resonated in a big way. I can't even articulate.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you, TJ.
I love that so much. Thanks so much. All right, guys. So many questions. I'll tag that if we have time, guys. Okay. What time is it? 51. All right, we're doing all
Wow,
right.
time has definitely gone fast today.
It really has. I know. I'm
Yeah.
like, we just barely scratched the surface here. All right. Let's jump into the next clip and play that for you guys quick because I really wanted to get to some of the galactic connection of this all. So let me play that for you guys, and we'll discuss.
Imagine some of these beings, these souls, will find their way to viewing this session, and I'm curious if you have any advice for them on knowing if they are indeed this type of hybrid, or if it's important for them to know. Can you share more about that?
Yeah. There's a heart aspect to them. There's an energy of knowing that they've always been different. Many of them have felt alone, yet they are not. There's many of them that are still flying under the radar. A lot of them still not realizing the capacity of who they are. Many of them are so modest and so egoless and so focused on the collective, such beautiful souls. So even upon hearing this, there might be an inkling of, oh, perhaps that makes sense of why I feel a certain way. But a lot of them will still discount it and be like, no, I don't think that could be me, because they are so egoless. But I want the souls that are hearing this to know this acknowledgement of them and who they are and of their mission. There are star codes that are being activated within you hearing this. I'll transmit the frequency now.
So for that transmitted frequency, I'm gonna share the clipped light language transmission activation. I was trying to get it out today, and y'all, it was a busy day, so it'll get out tomorrow. But you can always scroll through the full session to get that as well. I think most people here have probably watched the full session. But Soul, your thoughts on that one?
Part of my brain like glitched out. I was watching it. But I do feel definitely that a lot of the work that we're doing right now is connected to the oversoul and connected to do with all of us coming together. So I feel that there'll be like, I think where my head was going, so I was getting downloads when I was watching it, so I was a bit spaced out, especially it's early here. I haven't had coffee yet. But yeah, what I was just feeling was there's so much more to come and to explore around all of us working together. And I think that, where we were talking in that session about sort of more being egoless or being in this point of a lot of the soul group going, no, that's not me, or I'm not, that special or whatever. There's a real kind of beautiful honesty and a realness that comes through with souls that are actually supposed to be doing this work. So I do feel that more will be coming. I feel like we're just scratching the surface. That was the vision I was getting when we were watching that then.
Oh, absolutely. I love
Yeah.
that.
How
And
about you? Was there anything that you want to elaborate on to do with that?
yeah, I pulled the chunk of the transcript from after that because I thought it was just really really good stuff. So after the light language transmission, I asked if there was anything else that we needed to know at this time. And what they said was that they are in fact the chosen ones, speaking about these hybrids. They are the ones that you hear about in the prophecies, the Hopi prophecies, the 144, and there are seeds of destiny that have been planted within them. And many of this was encoded within their ancestry long before their souls even chose to come to Earth. It was planted bloodlines and bloodlines and bloodlines away before you came into existence in this reality. There's a universal harmonic knowing in convergence that this destiny was unrolled before you even came onto this path.
Do you know
And
that
so,
comes through so different when you read it? I think because in the hypnosis, when I watch it, I sort of go back in a little bit too. So it's hard to consciously bring that information back out, even when I'm watching it. But I'm like, that just, like when you because being dyslexic, so things don't feel like they always come through eloquently when I'm going through logic. But to hear that, I'm like, wow, that definitely sounds like it's come through from higher self and not the one that's trying to spell down here in English.
oh, absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
crazy.
hmm
Yeah.
Oh, and that's some of my favorite parts of this work are uh, being able to interact with these different parts of you, the clients, and to be able to be in conversation with your higher self. And there's so many different ways that, I mean, you look at the variety in individuals in their physical form on this earth. Like higher selves are also the same. And so when I'm chatting with higher selves, some of them are funnier, some of them are more like scientific, some of them are really flat, some of them are very expressive, some of them are really
Yeah.
quiet, some of them are really loud. And so there's just so much variety, and it's really beautiful to be able to do this work and to be able to have that connection. And I just, this idea of the long history and the deep uh like the intricacy of this whole narrative and this whole journey that we've been on and that we continue on. I mean, it blows your mind when you try to think about it in
Does.
that linear sense. But you kept talking about the prophecies before, and so I definitely wanted to talk about this chunk because I just think the synchronicities are just so beautiful. And again, it's not about ego. It's not about, oh, look at me, I'm one of these chosen ones.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like hang-ups that can be around that term or accepting that. But
Yeah.
it's understanding that it's not about like a celebrity in the earth sense. It's about this heavy responsibility that you've chosen as a soul. And what a beautiful part to play, I think, is one way that you could put it. But yeah, I similarly to you, these moments where I'm listening, it's like you're getting those downloads, you're focusing
Yeah.
on, what you want to talk about, you're watching the video, and then your mind's like, oh yeah, and I'm on live, I'm on YouTube.
I know, because I get such into like the relaxation of your voice, and just I think also when I'm hearing myself in hypnosis, it's my brain just goes straight back into
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Wanted to pop this comment up. TJ saying, my
Oh,
higher self doesn't have my stutter, but is very monotone.
cute.
I love it. I love it. You'll never say life is dull ever again, right, Emma?
Yeah, so true, Emma.
All right. Well, I wanted to play a lot more for you guys. And yet there's only so much you can cover in an hour. And definitely wanted to dive deeper and be able to do some card pulls. Any last words from you, Soul, or do we want to maybe pull a last card pull for
Yeah,
the
let's do
collective
that.
here?
And I just want to say how grateful I am for your work and just your beautiful soul, the way that you hold space when I'm under, and just the questions that you ask, and just the comfort that you also bring whilst being in that space. And just thank you to our community and your patience too, while we're putting together everything, and your questions that you ask. I think it really is all of us working together.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I'll have a
Absolutely.
look if there's a last message that Spirit wants to bring through for our beautiful collective. Okay, I'll flip these straight over because I know we are short on time. So really interesting what Christian said before about like the detox Mind, Body, and Soul. Hey, Shalia, lovely to have you here. So it definitely is encouraging us to look into physical, mental, emotional detox. And we see that we have the Devil card again, and both the sevens, the Seven of Cups and the Seven of Disc. So with these sevens, it's almost like imagine being sort of stuck or even clogged up digestively, or like with sinuses and things like that. We want to purge and start to create smooth, open pathways for this information to flow. And then it's more about making contact with higher self, with source, and this oversoul energy. And the Six of Cups for me, it's the Sun in Scorpio. So it's it's spotlighting, excuse me, it's bringing light and attention to that which is the multiverse part of us. Because the Six of Cups to me is always about connecting in with these other versions of us in multiple different realities. So we are seeing that when we do start to clean up a lot more, and even about what we said before, taking those clamps off or purging anything out, it's really about regaining sovereignty. So making sure that we're clean on the inside, the outside, spiritually, getting really squeaky. And then it just simply is about asking for that connection, the information to come through. But we'll also be learning it, just like in Corbin's aura drawing, where we have the past life or the oversoul part that's coming in. So it might be that you get different fractals or different parts come in, sort of like a drip, 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 rather than going in a session. But yeah, definitely a session with Jake will help to fast track that. Or if you want to dive deeper into a session with the cards and aura drawing, happy to do that as well. So yeah, and I would say breath work, meditation, if you're wanting to go along at home and to do that too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
So more just confirmation for everything we've said through the show is what I thought.
I love that. I love when the cards, they I think it was you, Soul, who shared a meme the other day that was like, when I try to pull a clarifying card and the cards say, I said what I said.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how it is sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
And yes, thank you so much to all the Soul community joining us here, new and old faces alike. We really appreciate you all. And like Soul said, the magic is all of us working together, and it truly is. I mean, we certainly could get up here and do a show by ourselves. It wouldn't be as much fun, and it wouldn't be as collective of an effort as when y'all join us and you share your questions and you bring your energy, because your energy is key. So thank you all so much. Any final words from you, Soul, before we call it?
Oh, I just agree with what you said with the beautiful audience too. It really is. I love doing lives and seeing our family and friends, because it brings such a bigger dimension to it. And you can just feel how we were saying before with the oversoul being the tapestry. Also, our little soul collective is its own tapestry. And so I just want to say thank you to Soul Family, and thank you, Corbin, and thanks, Jake. Yeah, thank you for having me on and for your amazing sessions. I love them.
Absolutely. We'll see if we can cook up a part 2.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we go, I will just pull up. Sorry, guys. I need to get an actual mouse, because my pad is just such a struggle when I'm trying to do this. Wanted to pull up Soul's website here for you guys. Can't recommend Soul's readings more or enough. And I know there's a lot of people in the chat as well plugging you and talking about their readings with you too. So definitely head on over to Soul's website, solreta.com, to book a reading with her or to learn more about her practice. She does have quite a few different options. The Psychic Tarot reading, Galactic Starseed reading, the Face reading, which I am so excited to dive into at some point with you. So fascinating. And then the Holistic Wellness session, which, as you can tell, Soul has a wealth of knowledge around holistic wellness, as well as all the other topics. So you would be in good hands to consult with her. And of course, while we're here too, make sure you head on over to my website as well if you'd like to book a session of your own, whether you want to explore galactic things like Soul, or if you want to keep it more closer to home and dig into some of your Earth lifetimes or your current lifetime problems or challenges. I'm happy to go anywhere and everywhere with clients. It really is an honor to guide folks in this way. So head on over there to book with me. And without further ado then, thank you again, Sol, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Hopefully we get to come back and share more with the audience. Thank you, everyone, again for joining, and we will see you all soon. All right.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Jay. Bye.
Absolutely. All right. Bye, everyone.